Find other great podcasts like this one at Podmoth.Network.
Welcome to the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast. I'm Deklan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes, bizarre occurrences, and get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories. To lighten things up, we'd like to end our time with a chaser. Please keep in mind some of our stories might be upsetting to young or sensitive ears.
We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to contact us by email or social media. You can find our contact info in the show notes for this episode. If you'd like to support us through Patreon, you can find us there at Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast, or use the link in our show notes.
If tales of ghostly hauntings, Bigfoot encounters, extraterrestrial interactions, and cosmic awakenings are your cup of tea, then join me, Eric Szilagyi, host of Uncomfortable Podcast, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Make Uncomfortable your home for the topics that reside on the fringe of our reality. Eyewitnesses, researchers, and experiencers join me on a weekly basis to delve into their paranormal and otherworldly experiences. Heard in over 65 countries worldwide, follow Uncomfortable Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your casts. Uncomfortable is now presented in video form on YouTube as well. So, as always, my friends, stay uncomfortable.
Hey, fellow truth seekers, I'm Justin.
And I'm Brandy, and together we'll be your guides on this spine-tingling journey through the unknown.
We dive headfirst into the eerie realms of cryptids, from Bigfoot to Loch Ness Monster.
And hold on tight, because we'll explore spine-chilling encounters with extraterrestrial beings and UFO sightings that will leave you questioning what's really out there.
Beyond the Shadows is not your average paranormal podcast. Our goal is simple: to shed light on the shadows that haunt our world and confront the unexplained with an open mind.
And for the skeptics, don't worry, we have something for you too. Our conspiracy theories will challenge your beliefs and make you question everything. So, if you're fascinated by the paranormal, yearn for chilling true crime stories, or crave the adrenaline rush of uncovering conspiracies,
join us on this hair-raising adventure as we journey beyond the shadows.
Find other great podcasts like this one at Podmoth.Network.
Welcome back, everybody.
Before we thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, before we get started on talking about our episodes, I wanted to read an Apple review that we recently got. So it's a 5-star review that says, "Fun, creepy podcast." History Kid 67 sent it for us. And it says, "This podcast has a broad range of topical variety to appeal to the true crime junkie, the UFO enthusiast, and even the ancient civilization geek. And you'll never have to figure out what adult beverage to bring to each episode, since the show's great co-hosts offer drink recommendations to pair with each show." So
that's a good review. Thank you.
Yeah.
History Kid, is that what it was?
History Kid 67 on Apple. So anybody
Nice.
listening
Thank you.
that feels so interested in writing us an Apple review, we would greatly appreciate it, and we will read it out on the air and say thanks so much, because it's fun. We love getting reviews.
Yeah.
So what story are you going to be telling us today, Deklan?
I'm going to be talking about Cyntoia Brown, which recently came into the news.
Oh, it's a recent one. Okay.
Well, it happened a while ago, but it came back in the news in 2019. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's an interesting story. What are you going to be telling us about today?
I am going to be telling you a story about a theft. So there's a little
Macbeth?
bizarre.
Is that what you said?
No, a theft.
Oh, okay.
a big one.
I thought you were talking about the play.
No, not Macbeth. No, but they do sound a lot alike.
Yeah.
And to go with my stealing stuff story, I brought the Cucumber Mint Gimlet. And the ingredients are a 2-inch slice of peeled cucumber, halved and quartered, 10 mint leaves, so a good amount of mint, 1.5 teaspoon of light agave nectar or simple syrup, 1 lime juiced, 1.5 ounces of gin. The steps are to assemble everything, your cucumber, mint, agave, in a cocktail shaker, and you're going to muddle that until the cucumber offers no more resistance. So basically you want to beat the daylights out of it. Fill the shaker with ice, then pour in the lime juice and gin. Shake it well until the cocktail is thoroughly chilled, and then strain into a martini glass. Garnish with a tiny sprig of mint if you would like. So, are you ready to try this?
I have a feeling this is going to be very bitter.
Do you think? I think that would depend on if you have a good cucumber or not.
Yeah, and I think like the bitterness from the cucumber comes from the skin. So I took the skin off of mine.
Yes, well, it says to peel the cucumber, so that's
Okay.
definitely in line
Yeah,
with
still.
the plan. I don't think it'll be
it's gonna
that
be
bitter. I think it's going to be kind of refreshing. And I think you put 10 mint leaves in anything, you're probably not going to be able to taste the
Just
cucumber
gonna
very
taste
much.
mint.
It's going to
Yeah.
be minty.
Well,
It's going to kind
cucumber's
of
a pretty
taste like
subtle
a mojito.
flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not entirely a
Alright, let's
mojito because mojito is rum, but whatever. All right, let's give it a try.
Alrighty. It's okay.
Definitely minty. It's not terrible. Kind of reminds me of a white linen cocktail.
Did we do that?
Of
I
the
don't
cucumber.
know if I've
We
ever had
have
that.
not. I don't think we've done
Okay.
the white linen, but I have had it before, and the cucumber in it. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
Not bad.
The reason I brought this drink is because of the mint. So my story is about the Denver Mint, where they make coins and stuff. And so I was looking for a mint cocktail, and we've already done the mint julep, and we already did a mojito. Those were the big, like, when I was searching for mint drinks, those were the two that popped up most. And I had to go digging for another mint drink that wouldn't taste absolutely horrific. And so found this one. So let's talk about the Denver Mint. I picked this story because we were recently in Denver, and shout out to Celine from Peculiar Pairings podcast because she lives in Denver, and I got to meet her in person, face to face, and we had a nice little afternoon chat, and it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
And so your dad and I went on a tour of the Denver Mint, partially because I found this story and thought it was cool, and then went, ooh, I should go see what it's like. It was like a couple blocks from our hotel, so it was really easy to get to, and it was an interesting little tour. And they did talk about this story for half a second when we were on the tour, which was like half an hour long tour. So
Nice.
Let's talk about it. The Denver Mint is the single largest producer of coins in the world. It opened in February 1906. Shipping gold back east was getting too expensive and dangerous, so a facility for refining and coin production was needed with a more central location. When it opened, it made silver and gold coins. In 1920, the mint was having a problem with large amounts of gold going missing. Shocking.
Yeah. It'd
you
be
work
so
with
hard not to steal. Like, if you were
100%.
working with gold and, like, that
Oh,
amount of gold, it'd be like, they're not gonna miss this one coin.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have a really hard time not having sticky fingers and not stealing everything that I got
Yeah.
a chance to. So,
Well, so this is just like a little sidetrack. Like, it just made me
yeah.
think of this, but there's this guy on YouTube, and like the Diamond District in New York, how there's
Yeah.
just like rows and rows of jewelers.
Uh-huh.
He goes out and he pressure washes in between like the sidewalk cracks and like
Okay.
collects it all. And he gets like a bunch of gold shavings that are just caught on like jewelers' clothes that fall off into the street and stuff. It's super
Really?
weird. Yeah. Like
Ooh.
he's find like little diamonds and gold shavings, all kinds of cool stuff.
I wonder like how much he's made money-wise from doing that.
I think in one of the videos he made like $100 worth of gold, just like sweeping
Wow.
and cleaning up the streets and shit, which is cool.
Wow.
Modern day gold panning.
No kidding. No kidding. Without the stream. I mean, he does use water to pressure wash.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Smart. I never would have thought of doing something like that. So when the gold was going missing, the inspectors were having some difficulty determining who was taking the gold and how it was being stolen. However, an employee noticed his coworker doing something unusual with a small piece of gold, and it led to a big discovery of where the gold was going. Going back in time, though, let's talk about a man who would eventually work at the mint on more than one occasion. That is Orville Harrington. He was born November 12th, 1878. He was raised in Denver, Colorado. When he was a child, he went hunting with a friend and there was an accident. He sustained an injury to his right leg, and basically something happened with the gun, and a metal piece from the gun struck Orville's leg and damaged the sciatic nerve, which is a big nerve that runs down the back of the leg. He was forced to walk with crutches for several months and had multiple trips to the hospital for a few years. As time passed, he continued having problems with the leg, including poor circulation that eventually led to severe pain and numbness in the foot. Even though he struggled with his leg, he went to college. He attended the Colorado School of Mines, a higher education school that focused on science, engineering, and math, which I had never heard of, a college for mines, but it still
Yeah,
exists.
seems fishy.
It still exists, which shocked me. Because, I mean, mining isn't as much of a thing today, but it's a science and engineering based
Yeah, because
school.
like it's, I feel like you have to know a lot about geography and
Yeah.
like rocks and shit to know
Yeah.
like where good mines could be. Because like
Right.
they,
And how to
I don't know,
manage
you don't
them
just
and
like come
work
across
them.
a coal mine. Like
Right.
you got to know
Right.
where like the type of area they're found in and
Right.
things to look for like that. So that makes sense.
It's not rocks for jocks. It's really rocks
Yeah.
for rock lovers who want to know more about mining and stuff. So kind of cool. He was active in school activities, being involved with the student council and the school magazine. He graduated from there in June of 1898. For many years, Orville worked for different mining companies, but his leg often caused workplace problems. His injury would not permit him to walk on uneven, rough surfaces that were common in mines. I mean, mines are not like smooth and paved and, easy to navigate. And
Yeah.
also, there was a bias at the time against people with disabilities. So during that time, many employers would use his leg as a reason to pay him less money or to fire him altogether. Because this is before.
Okay, to be fair, mining is a very difficult job. Like,
Yes.
it requires a lot of physical exercise, basically.
Yeah.
So I could see how it could hinder him. If he's working just like normal like the rest, then he should get paid the
Right.
normal amount. But like
Yeah.
if he's slower than other people, I mean,
Right. But I mean, I don't know if it's me and I
when was this
can't do
again?
the job in the 1900s, early 1900s.
Okay, so unions weren't a thing yet. He couldn't go to his union
Probably
rep and be
not.
like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't have I don't know when the Americans with Disabilities Act was instated, but doesn't sound like it was around this time because
Mhm.
we'll talk later about how he throughout his lifetime lost some jobs, even if they were, not mining jobs, to being able to, because of his leg, So
Mhm.
in 1904, he married his wife Lydia, and the couple eventually had 2 children. In 1906, he was hired by the Denver Mint as an ingot roller. And I probably am
Ingot.
pronouncing that a little weird. Ingot. It looks like ingot. An ingot is a
I know it's
block of
spelled weird.
metal. Likely in this case, he was working with gold or silver, or maybe both, but he was rolling out these blocks of fine metal. He worked at the Mint for a couple of years. Then for the next few years after leaving the Mint, Orville had different jobs related to mining or working at his former college. In 1918, he and the family moved to Cuba when he worked as a superintendent of a large copper mine. But after only a few months, his injured leg became very problematic, and the family was forced to move back to Colorado so he could receive medical care. Due to the severity of the damage in his right lower leg and foot, Orville decided to have the leg amputated below the knee. He was fitted with an artificial wooden leg. So,
Peg leg.
back in the day, he had a peg leg.
Yeah, prosthetics weren't as good back then.
No. A few months later, he was back working for the Denver Mint, but this time in the electrolytic refinery. This type of metal processing is used to extract and purify metals. And I went on a little bit of a rabbit hole of trying to understand because I was like,
It's
I
so
did not
it's
get it.
alchemy basically. It's
Yeah.
like you put this one chemical and you electrolyze it or something, and it
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden creates gold. Like gold plating, it's crazy
Mm-hmm.
how much gold you need to do like you could have just like a rice grain and gold plate a whole table with it, like using electrolysis or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So um basically you take an impure source um of the metal, and it's referred to as the anode, and a pure metal piece known as the cathode, and you put them in an electrolytic liquid solution containing metal salts. And then you pass electricity through the anode, and as it's resting in the solution, and then that causes the metal in the anode to dissolve, and then purified metal is deposited on the cathode. So you're dissolving this impure piece. It causes the solution to, I don't even know how they figured this out. I mean, it's crazy that they figured this
Yeah,
out.
it's so
Science
weird.
people. Yeah. So the size of an anode starts at about 8 inches by 3.5 inches and about 1/4 of an inch thick. And during the process, the anode gets smaller as the metal is dissolved and then deposited on the cathode. But there's still a small portion of that anode's sample that's left. Although the anode is not pure gold, it does contain gold, and it's about 85% gold. It might not be shiny or pretty like a more pure product is, but it's still valuable because it has 85%
hmm
gold. Um,
hmm
and that was what kept going missing at the Mint. So the Mint is keeping track of it because that's where they're getting their gold from, even though it's not a higher percentage of purity of gold, they still have to track it because that's their
It's
refining
valuable.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So they track it, and employees are searched when they leave at the end of their shift. And
That would suck.
yeah, and that's how they realized that gold was going missing, because they're tracking it. On
Mhm.
a cold February night, Orville left the Mint at the end of his shift and made his way to a nearby tramway stop. He was going home. But that night, he was stopped before boarding the tram. And Orville was brought back to the Mint by the chief of the U.S. Secret Service in Denver. That's who stopped him at the tram. One of the key jobs for the Secret Service is protecting the financial infrastructure for the country, and that includes the money being made through the Denver Mint. So when it was noticed that gold anodes were missing, the Secret Service set up a plan. An anode was left on a counter one day, and it went missing. Shocking. Although everyone was searched at the end of the shift, the anode was still missing. They couldn't locate it. I mean, this had been happening for a while, so I don't think they were really surprised that they didn't find it. But what Orville didn't know was that the Secret Service had been tipped off by another employee, and that the employee said that Orville was acting weird and had done something that he thought was unusual. And so he told the Secret Service, and they'd been watching him. So they watched him for a few days. They followed him home. And in the middle of the night, they watched him bury something in his backyard 2 nights in a row. Thinking it was odd that he would dig in his garden late at night and then cover the hole he had just dug with the same dirt, they set him up. On this night, he had hidden the anode in a pocket in his vest, but because of his artificial leg, he had a strange posture, so he had kind of a lean, and that lean allowed the anode to sit in his pocket and not be discovered during the search. He also revealed in his interrogation that he had a secret compartment in his wooden leg where he could hide an anode.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Badass, huh?
That's when you took a tour of it, did they have that on display?
No. And okay,
Oh, that'd be cool.
so there's some discrepancy. The source that I got most of the story from said that he had this anode in his pocket, but then when the Secret Service was, interviewing him, that's when he took his leg off and he showed them that he had this secret compartment. But on the tour, they didn't mention that at all. They just said it was in his pocket. But they also said that they had some of the details different from several of the sources that I looked at, because they said that he had been working there the whole time, from the first time he started working there through when this theft occurred. But all the other sources were saying that he left the country and went to Cuba, and he was working in Cuba for a few months and at other jobs in between. So he only worked at the Mint the first time for a short period of time, and then he left, but then went back after he had the leg amputated. So who knows? I mean, that's the problem with doing research on these stories, is that you don't know exactly who. But the thing with the Mint too is that during the tour, you have to have your phone off. You can't take any pictures, you can't take any video, nothing. And so they had like a little display and picture of Orville and some of the articles that were written at the time about it, but I couldn't even get a picture of it because I had to have my phone off. So
do they still use it to make like gold coins and stuff?
yeah.
Or is it just decommissioned? Oh, okay.
No, it's still a functioning mint. It still produces the most amount of coins anywhere. And they actually produce coins for other countries. They do a lot of like special coins for collectors and things like that. They'll do like limited edition kind of stuff. So yeah, it's still a functioning mint. However, when we were there, they had all their machines off because they were on like something to clean the machines or something. I don't know, but we didn't see any coins being made. So that was kind of a bummer, but they said, they do that like once or twice a year, something like that. And we just happened to be there during the week where they had everything turned off. So we got to walk around and see big machinery through.
You didn't get to see anything being made.
No.
That's annoying.
It was kind of a bummer, but it's still cool to see some stuff, Where was I? Okay. So he showed them hit the little compartment in his wooden leg. And when they asked where the rest of the missing gold was, he confessed that he had not only been hiding it in his yard, but in the basement of his house. A search of his property located a total of 90 anode bars of stolen gold. The estimated value was between $80,000 and $110,000.
That was
ended
back
up
then,
being
so
right. I do
there's
have a
probably
little
a lot more now.
calculation. He
Okay.
ended up being prosecuted for $81,400. And I believe that they came at that figure based on the weight of all of the gold that they confiscated that they got back. And that is around $1.3 million in today's money.
Holy shit.
So, yeah. And he was getting paid, like I think it was $4 a week or something like that, or very, very minimal amount. So this would have been a big chunk of change for him. I mean, anybody.
Jesus. Yeah, it's a fuck ton of money.
Right? He pleaded not guilty, but was convicted in May 1920 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was paroled in November 1923. After leaving prison, he bounced around between many jobs, losing some of them to the economy, others to being, because he was on parole, they found out and they were like, yeah, we don't want to have somebody on parole working here, so they fired him. And then again, also some of the jobs he lost because they realized he had a wooden leg and they thought it was a disability and they were like, no, you got to go. He was on parole for 3 years and he eventually passed away in 1950.
Wow. That is a crazy story.
I know. I really wanted him to have the gold in the leg.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
He just gets a solid gold leg.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been, yeah. If he
That'd
had
be cool.
stuck the wooden leg in the electrolytic solution and had the gold, like a gold plated leg, that'd be pretty
That'd be
badass.
cool.
Yeah. So that is my story.
All right. Let me tell you about Cyntoia Brown. Cyntoia was born on January 29th, 1988, to mother Georgina Mitchell, who placed her up for adoption when she was an infant due to an addiction to crack. Cyntoia was adopted by Elinette Brown, and in 2001 and 2003 ended up getting in trouble with the law over crimes against people and property. She was housed in the State Department of Children's Services, and while she was housed in the Woodland Hills Youth Development Center, she ended up running away several times, eventually ending up on the street as a 16-year-old. When on the run, she met Garion L. McLaughlin. Weird name. He was referred to as Cutthroat in the streets, so not a great guy.
Okay. Not friendly.
Yeah. He would often threaten, beat, and assault Cyntoia. And on August 6, 2004,
guy.
Cyntoia, yeah. So On August 6, 2004, he had Cyntoia meet up with a youth pastor, Johnny Allen, who was also a real estate agent, a Sunday school teacher, and had recently started a ministry for homeless youth. And
Okay.
he's picking up sex workers. I don't know what the correct term is now.
I think sex workers
A
is
16-year-old sex worker, I should say.
Okay.
The two met. Huh?
Not good.
Yeah. The two met in the parking lot of a Sonic, and he asked her if she was hungry and up for any action. She hopped in his car, and the two ordered food and went back to Johnny's house, where she agreed to have sex with him for $150. Cyntoia and Johnny went to the bedroom, where he proceeded to threaten and assault her. And in an act of self-defense, she shot him in the back of the head with her .40 caliber revolver.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Who is this guy again? Is this the guy that's like?
Is it the pastor?
Okay, that's what I thought you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Before leaving his house, she stole $172 from his wallet, some of his guns, and his truck. She drove his truck to a Walmart and ditched it there before asking for a ride back to her hotel. The following day, she was talking with a neighbor about the killing, where she claimed she shot a man in the back of the head and blew his brains out for $50,000 and some guns.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was never any
Not that money.
$50,000. Like, yeah. She got $172.
Why? Why would you exaggerate that?
Maybe she's counting the truck. Maybe it's a brand new truck or something, like really nice truck.
Maybe.
I don't know. There was never
But
any
she left the
$50,000.
truck.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Okay.
She then
I don't
asked the
like
neighbor
it.
to drive her back to the house so she could steal more things. The neighbor told his roommate about the story, and when she found out, she called the neighbor and threatened to kill them if they kept talking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she already proved that she's fine killing somebody, so.
Yeah. Cyntoia and her pimp, for lack of a better word, were found at their hotel and arrested. She was charged with homicide, gun possession, aggravated robbery, and criminal impersonation, and was being tried as an adult even though she was 16. She claimed self-defense, stating that Johnny was standing over her and threatening her, and she believed he was reaching for a gun when she shot him, despite the fact that no gun was found and Johnny was killed in a sleeping position.
Okay.
Yeah. While in custody, she was sent to a mental health facility to be tested, and that's where she attacked a nurse who would not allow her to call her mother. She was quoted as saying, "I shot that man in the back of the head one time, bitch. I'm gonna shoot you in the back of the head 3 times. I'd love to hear your blood splatter on the wall."
Oh, that's not a good thing
Yeah.
to say.
No.
Okay.
Brown was found guilty of first-degree murder, felony murder, and aggravated robbery and sentenced to life in prison. She was 16 years old when she went to prison. While in prison, Brown married musician and entrepreneur Jamie Long, CEO of JFam Music Incorporated and owner of a Texas healthcare business. Which is just weird. Like, why would you get married to someone who's in prison? I don't get that.
I don't get that. I know it happens a lot.
It happens a lot, and it's
And
weird.
I think we usually hear women marrying inmates. I don't think we
It's
hear
kinda
very
rare that
much that
yeah.
a guy does it.
It's weird.
I don't get
On November 21st, 2017, Brown's case went viral following several high-profile celebrity social media posts expressing outrage over her sentence. Celebrities that posted included Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, T.I., Snoop Dogg, and LeBron James.
Okay.
And on January 7th, 2019, her prison sentence got commuted to just 15 years, which is how long she was in there, plus 10 years of supervised parole. And she was released from prison on August 7th, 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. Super weird.
So Why were celebrities getting involved? What was
Because she was
their
this basically
16
she's a
years
sex
old?
trafficking victim.
Okay.
Like, and she killed him in self-defense, but like the situation's uh he was in a
Yeah, a little
sleeping
murky.
position, like it's yeah, little funky. And she
Yeah.
threatens the nurse and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it definitely sounds like she had a rough life and went through a lot of stuff to get there.
Hmm.
Um, oh, that's tricky. I don't know. The fact that she was 16 and sentenced as an adult, I mean, that's always problematic,
It's yeah,
but
I don't
mm,
know. Murder is one of those things that I feel like you can be tried as an adult for. Like
yeah.
you should be. Like depending on the circumstance.
Yeah, the circumstances are a factor for sure.
Like that one kid that stabbed the girl 100 times or whatever. He should be
Oh,
tried as an adult. Yeah, that
yeah.
guy definitely should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyways, you got a chaser for us?
I do. My chaser this week is a watch recommendation. It's a newer
Hmm.
show on Netflix called Chaos, spelled with a K, Kaos. And
Hmm.
it is about like Roman gods and Greek gods and um, Olympi, um, Mount Olympus and the gods, but it's set in more modern day. Um, it's really good. It's a quirky, weird little show. Um, I
It sounds
enjoyed
like
it.
that other uh the Norsemen or whatever, that one show you guys watched where it was like a bunch of Scottish guys that were
Oh
gods.
no, New Zealand. Oh, they
New
wait.
Zealand.
It was based in New Zealand. I think. Oh God, what was the name of that show? I can't remember. I know the show you're talking about, and the name
Yeah.
just evaded me. I loved that show.
Hmm.
That show was one of the best shows I can think of that I've seen in a while. You know, just because it was
Really? I couldn't get
so.
into it.
I really liked it. I really liked
Hmm.
it.
I'll have
This
to go
one,
back to
this
it.
this chaos show is. I think you'll like it. It's less to do with like the interactions of everyday people, which that other one that you mentioned was, I think, a little bit more. That showed the gods were hiding. This one, the gods
Mhm.
are not hiding. Their
Oh, okay.
interactions, everybody knows, who they are, kind of thing. It's a good show, and I like it.
Hmm.
It's got Jeff Goldblum in it.
Okay.
He he plays Zeus, and he honestly, I
That's
feel
funny.
like it was the perfect pick for Zeus because he's
Yeah.
so kind of an
He's a
unusual
it's,
person,
yeah,
and
weird guy.
his mannerisms, and yeah, it's a good show. What's your chaser?
My chaser is also a watch recommendation, and I think it's on Amazon. It's either on Amazon or Hulu, but it's called Jackpot, and it's got
Oh,
so basically the premise is it's like set in 2030, and California has a lottery, and like everyone scans in that wants to play, and if you get chosen, you get to win the lottery if you stay alive for the until sundown or something. So everyone in
oh,
California who's playing the lottery is trying to kill you, and it's got John Cena in it, and he's like basically he's a bodyguard for people that
okay,
are playing the lottery. So it's like, I'll keep
yep,
you alive till sundown for 10% of the money or whatever. And
okay,
it's a pretty funny movie. It's like got a lot of action scenes, and they're just so stupid and goofy. Like
Okay.
John Cena can like punch people and they go flying across the room. Like
Okay.
it's pretty funny.
I remember seeing a little trailer for that, and it did look funny.
It's
So
pretty good. It's a good watch. I was skeptical when I first started watching it, but it was really fun.
I'll have to check it out. I've been wanting to, but I totally forgot, and we got sucked into that chaos show, and
That
then
chaos
also
show.
we've been watching other. Got sucked into a couple other shows, so I'll have to go check it out.
Mm. Well, I think that just about wraps us up. I enjoyed
It
hearing that
does.
interesting gold stealing story.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
I want to hide gold in a wooden leg.
Yeah. I just want gold.
Yeah, lots of gold. All right. Talk to you later,
All
bud.
right.
Love ya.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Hey, friends. Thank you for supporting our podcast. Please share our show with your brutal and bizarre friends. Give us a boozy follow on your favorite podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating or review as well. But maybe do that sober so all the letters are in the right place.
You can find all our contact information in the show notes. We love hearing from you, and if you're interested in helping us stock the bar for our future boozy episodes, you can find our Patreon link in the show notes as well.